Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to EGC Winter Series 3. We are here, ready for the Grand Finals to get underway between the infamous MarineLorD and in the other corner, just as infamous, VortiX himself. Two craft boys, years of skill honing behind them in the Warcraft and StarCraft scenes, respectively. And now they are putting it to work in Age of Empires 4. MarineLorD now looking to secure his third win in the Winter Series, taking first place in the first and second, pipping Lucifron at the post twice. This time around, it's different, though. This time around, VortiX has to step up because his brother cannot, and he will attempt to slay the dragon as we get into game number one. Game number one that will be a mirror matchup here on Dry Arabia as both of them take to the field as the Mongols. I believe last time we saw this matchup, it did end up going the way of MLord. I believe we got treated to a Mongol matchup to open up their series in the first Winter Series. I would still give an edge based on what I've seen out of these two players to MLord. I think he's a little bit more on point. VortiX is a very exploitative player, though, so if he sees any mistakes out of MarineLorD's opening, he will pounce on it instantly and just try to double down, right, with a fully aggressive play. I think that's what makes this series very exciting to see play out in a best of 5. Because remember, we're out of the BO3. This is BO5. It's going to take 3 wins to get the overall victory. And I thought this would be fantastic. I was actually, I mean, I'm not going to be biased caster. I was a little bit on the hopeful side we get to see this. No offense to Mister. No offense to Hera. It's just the last time we saw these two play out against each other, there was nothing held back. It wasn't any drag it out to 30, 40 minutes and see who has the bigger EP in their economy. It was just who has the bigger EP in the micro and the aggression early on. And I think that makes for a very exciting series because it can be very easy to get wrapped up in this idea of big, flashy 30, 40-minute battles. But sometimes the most pristine elements of gameplay come out in the first 10 minutes. And we definitely have been seeing that multiple times so far from MarineLorD in this tournament, as he just shoo in the previous series against Mister and on the previous day against Baguette when he got rid of 2 players, eliminated 2 different players with a scout rush pre-10 minutes. Let's see if he does something similar. Opening is going to be the same. They do both go for the stables. They both have a kind of standardization towards this. I wasn't expecting to see any sort of switchover. You want to have that fallback. Some players make the error of going into racks. Racks really puts you on the timer to try and get outpost down and spam your opponent out. And if you miss your timing at all and your opponent cracks feudal, your game feels kind of over and you're too far behind. Meanwhile, if you do go for the stable spam, you drop out a bunch of scouts, you have the option to potentially burn down your opponent's crap in the base if it's a little bit exposed. But more importantly, you have a fallback option of going straight into the pro scouts. But look at this. Talk about burning crap down. MarineLorD's already in there. And it's going to be Horseman. VortiX, he's not going to engage with this. This is a smart play. This is the power. This is what allows you to count this as Mongols. Do not build scouts in this situation, especially against MarineLorD. Instead, he's building the Horseman. And the Horsemen will push away MarineLorD and stab him down over time, remember, because Horsemen do move quicker than Scouts. And these Scouts, there's not enough for them to commit to burn this down. It's got too much health left. There it is, has to back away. Will be chased over a long term. Won't be easy to kill them. Remember, these Scouts do heal over time, and you only poke them for 7 damage with each poke due to the fact it's early Horseman. And look at this, though. MarineLorD's ahead of him. He sends over his own Horseman. And this is going to force a double down. But it's actually scouts coming out from VortiX. VortiX now miles behind. This is the problem. MarineLorD, he knows this opening. He read it perfectly. And he's even building more horsemen. More scouts coming as well. Double scouts come out. He needs another horseman. VortiX needs the numbers, or he's going to lose this. And you can't afford to lose the Uvu at this stage. MarineLorD, just an absolute animal at this stage as he butchers all the animals in the kingdom. Even the wolves are trying to help VortiX, but it's not good enough. And now outnumbered on the home field. You can't let him get this Uvu. But he has a 3rd horseman on the way as you're completing your 3rd. And you'll think you'll have the edge and he'll immediately turn it around on you and barrel into you. And whoever fires their maneuver arrow first might just lose. Scout, stuck in a little bit. VortiX switches targets, though he's not microing this, and now look at the damage on the Horsemans. Any damage on the Horsemen are not going to heal, remember. The Scouts can heal over time, though. And he used the maneuver arrow already, and that's trouble. The min-max from MarineLorD. New Horseman coming around the back is going to be focused fire by all the units because it's out of position, but it gets around the back. Maneuver arrow is going to be used. Khan's going to be killed. VortiX, crippled so hard, has to back away, and he is going to sacrifice the Uvu as a result. Horseman will be chased down. Khan could chase after it. More coming out. He needs the hold, but the Khan is the difference maker now that you need to be careful for. Double horsemen coming into play. And this game could very easily be over by 10 minutes if VortiX does not pull a miracle. He needs to get a rabbit out of that hat. Actually, he needs to get a shotgun out of that hat. And with so much damage to your horseman, and the way that's being min-maxed by MarineLorD, I don't see how you stop him right now. Trying to poke and prod. Never able to do enough. This Khan, with a measly 2 damage, is going to be enough to snipe you down. The full health horseman, he trades out on 2. And now the engagement, once again, VortiX behind. He's going to remain that way. 3 horsemen here. MarineLorD up at 4. 1 scout's going to be stabbed out. But look at the damage being done. They try to chase onto the car, but they can't stay on top of him well enough. Trying to get in, but they're actually tripping up over each other. He does get the final stab out. He gets rid of the Khan. Big deal there. Evens up the fight. More horsemen coming out. It's such a heavy investment, though. Try and fight him again. Horseman running through. Numbers now in favor of VortiX. VortiX is turning this. However, MarineLorD is holding on pretty well. A lot of damage to his horseman, but they're not being finished. And once again, he's in trouble. VortiX has to back away. Scouts trying to regroup. He has to focus the horsemen. They're doing too much work now, but really you want to use the scouts against the scouts. And now the villager comes out to repair this. But so much being invested. The numbers right now, if we look at the breakdown on the military side, MarineLorD is still ahead. Scout peels off. And the horsemen and scouts go straight in onto the villager. We'll force him away. A lot of the damage offset. Really well played there. He's getting out of the critical threshold. If that ever gets set fire to, that's 50 food and 50 gold going the way of MarineLorD. And that's what he's trying to prevent. But here come more horsemen. Hesitant to engage. And he gets blocked in. Really well played. Another horseman down. VortiX, he's done it. He's held back. And tech up. It's going to be there for MarineLorD. But VortiX now rushing not too far behind him. 12 villagers working to get him up into the fuel age. And Pasha's already being dropped by MarineLorD. Upgrading into the horseman. He'll have that edge in the initial fight. Will he engage anytime soon, though? No. His Khan's still dead for 40 seconds. He can't risk it. Remember, the Khan is a huge booster with that maneuver arrow. Gives you that chase down potential. And also, it's fragile to try and breach now with the deer stones being in play on both sides, right? That maneuverability is going to give the edge for your opponent to outkite you. But what an attempt at MarineLorD. VortiX, that was becoming very dangerous. Very close to losing the Uvu. That Uvu goes down, this game's being GG'd out. There's no comeback at that point. You can't double up. And if you can't double up, you can't match the pace MarineLorD sets. He can hang in Dark Age and end the game. So really well played by VortiX to hold on here and prevent a quick start in favor of MarineLorD. Now Normie Horseman. Still better than your early Horseman. You need that upgrade. And they're trying to get rid of the stable before it comes out. I just don't think you've got enough here to do it. Still no Khan, remember. That was the problem. He went for this gamble, understanding he had the tech up advantage. But if you don't have the Khan, you can't back a play here. It just doesn't work. And now VortiX also dropping the pasture. So neither of them interested in trying to go for pro scouts at all. Surprising as well. I say that. It looks like MarineLorD is going back for it now. Yeah, he cancelled the pasture. I like this play. This is better. Meanwhile, on the other side, I don't expect to see the same coming out from VortiX. He's going pro scouts, though. Interesting that he's building a pasture and going pro scouts, and he hasn't got a scout army right now. Instead, continuing to spam out the horsemen. This feels like wasted economy right now. It's a decent chunk at this stage. 350 resources, but you don't use it. You have no scouts. 0 scouts. Oh, sorry. No, you have 3 here. Okay. They were just missing. A lot more scouts from MarineLorD, though, and he's going to snatch so much away. That's what makes this better. That was kind of another part of my concern. Once Pro Scouts is complete, he can snatch a lot away. Luckily for VortiX, he's so close to the deer, though, he should be able to get this bunch safely. It's the rest that are going to be heavily contested in favor of MarineLorD, though. However, if MarineLorD does want to take more deer away from VortiX, it's very far out to do so. Horseman riding out. Numbers are fairly even. A lot of scouts still from MarineLorD, though. He could rush to try and burn down the infrastructure, but I'm not sure if it has the same level of value anymore. Your opponent's already on the gold. Your opponent's got a decent amount of wood. He's got food now under his TC for a long time. Like, if you go after the stable, he'll just tech up in the castle ahead of you. So he has to go back and get his own food supply, which is what he's doing. Right now, numbers looking pretty juicy for VortiX. That's the miraculous part. I've got to give a lot of credit, right? That hold in itself was impressive, considering it felt like he was always behind. The fact that he does that while also having a better economy than MarineLorD, because the numbers were being held so high, is the impressive part for me out of VortiX. VortiX proving exactly why, although he might be getting old, he's not washed. He's nowhere near washed at this point. He's still able to duke it out with the best in the games. So 10 horsemen, 9 on the other side. Double horsemen coming out as well, so keeping pace. But look at this, MarineLorD. No intent of greeting. He has some wiggle room, but he's dropped a double stable, so he has flexibility to try and drop a bigger army right now. But given the way the numbers are playing, I think his intent is just to boom up. And he's got more people working the gold. VortiX only at 8, MarineLorD about to go up to 10. Fight. Right now, horsemen are engaging. Numbers do favor VortiX. Is the micro going to be better, though, for MarineLorD? MarineLorD about to lose his second horseman, bringing him down to 7. Meanwhile, the count's still at 10 for VortiX, trying to peel it off. He's going to have to retreat away. MarineLorD realizing this is not working out for him, but the maneuver arrow comes out. The Yam movement speed is there as well. You're in a little bit of trouble. Yam's going to run out, but the maneuver is as well. And that should give you enough time to disengage. He actually leaves some behind, though, to stab out 1 or 2 extra horsemen, and it does cost him evenly. And all of a sudden, the numbers looking good for VortiX. 9 versus the 5, about to be 6. In the meantime, the Khan always chasing, poking and prodding. VortiX will back up. He just wants to cover his tech up. He's underway. Step redoubt now being built. On the other side, MarineLorD almost ready. Has surplus food, but the gold isn't quite there. Plenty of food to work with. Didn't really prevent VortiX at all. You can see he's actually getting most of what he needed. This is impressive again. The min-maxing, right? VortiX, because he has such a close-by deer stack, he realizes he doesn't need 6 scouts. 3 was good enough. So the Pro Scouts does end up being a fantastic investment. I just didn't see the Scouts originally. I was confused about where they were, but gets enough value out of 3 due to the fact that not only is it that close to your TC, but it was also next to the Deer Stone, so he's yammed up for the entire gather. It allowed him to get through the first bolt quickly, and it means that MarineLorD is not able to exploit the fact he has more Scouts. And VortiX is able to exploit the fact he has more Horsemen still. Yam movement speed is going to be there. Scouts are trying to tank the shots, and Horsemen looking like they need to back away. Tech up is underway, but VortiX is going to be ahead by a good 20 seconds. Those 20 seconds, look at the infrastructure. He's going to use it well. VortiX pushing Lancers, 2 coming out already. MarineLorD doesn't have the same capability yet. Gathering a lot of gold. He's prepping himself here. He wants to be able to immediately push out a lot of Lancers. You can see Trip Stable being dropped, decent amount of stone being saved up, and look at the surplus on the food and the gold. MarineLorD. Just about to have it. He's going to switch over. Small gap in his economy. Immediately back on the food. Needs to keep boosted at all times. But the Lancers are going to come out first for VortiX. No double ups just yet. He has got enough now, though. Gold's the limitation for him at the moment, though. VortiX, 11 people. MarineLorD sitting at 10. A lot more people and food for MarineLorD. MarineLorD, look at that flex. Probably looking to actually keep a mixture in of Lancers with maybe Scouts or something to just brunt the charge. That could be an option, but instead of this, he's dropping the archery range. This will be very unexpected as well. Look what VortiX has done. He's dedicated himself into the stables. They've both shown no signs of transitioning yet. And MarineLorD is going to do this under secrecy. There's no scouting vision. VortiX has not actually seen onto MarineLorD's side of the map for a long time. The closest he came was that skirmish in the front of MarineLorD's base. It means that MarineLorD is going to get away with this, and he's not going to be weak doing it. He'll have enough crossbowmen coming out initially that the big fight that's going to happen around about the 16-17 minute mark, he'll have the edge in, despite the fact that VortiX managed to have almost a whole Lancer line of production ahead of MarineLorD in terms of tech-up timing. Now trying to push that up to 7 Lancers. MarineLorD needs to be fast. Crossbows coming out at double the pace. This is very efficient, remember. Crossbows cost a lot less. You get a lot more double production courtesy of the fact that it's only 120 stone compared to these Lancers that cost you 240. Garrison coming in. Needs to back the villagers off quick. Engagement. Attack ray arrow trying to get them in range. Here come the crossbows. Just a few of these can make a difference, especially with the assistance of the outpost. Outpost doing a lot of work here, and it means that VortiX can't run away. The Yam movement speed is there for his opponent, but not for him. And he thought this was so good, but MarineLorD has turned it on him. Lancers have to back away. Heavy damage to half of them. And not many Lancers lost from MarineLorD. And so many dead red units here. A lot of them, of course, the early phases, right? The Horsemen and the Scouts. But still, that means your cannon fodder is gone. Your opponent already transitioned into the crossbows. You need to match him. You need to do it soon. And it's going to be a Siege Workshop. What? We never see this. We never, ever see this. This is such a rare occasion. Siege Workshop as the Mongols. Mongols that can get easy access to their siege weapons by getting the upgraded siege engineering. But instead, he's going to build them much slower from his primary base in the Siege Workshop. Maybe Greased Axles is the play. That's the only thing I can think about here. This is a very odd choice of strategy coming out from VortiX. A very big sink as well. Remember, it costs you 300 wood to do this. And as I said, it's about 3 times as long to build a unit compared to siege engineering in the field. Crossbow count. Continues to rack up, now to 4. Lancers always forced to run away here. Never want to turn and engage. Even with more coming out. MarineLorD needs to take this opportunity to get a new outpost down. You need to get the network going. The Yan movement speed is going to run out soon. Attack rate is good. Lancers running into trouble here. VortiX needs to be careful. The ranged units really are making the difference. MarineLorD holding him back. The animation cancels are good, though. VortiX still has the count. The crossbows are going to be exposed. And that means he needs to re-engage, but the crossbows are trapped. Trying to back up a little. Train up best he can, but VortiX has held him here and he's pushing him back. MarineLord's going to lose the army. And VortiX, there's enough Lancers left here that he can plow on in and look to do some damage. MLord trying to back up still. Has got more crossbowmen coming out. He needed outposts. That was the difference maker. He was just out of range. He wasn't fully buffed at all times, and he did get punished for it. More Lancers now coming out. VortiX. Look at that breathing room. Lancers wrapped around the back, but I don't think they ever found any damage. No, VortiX still 2 eco units up. Instead, MarineLorD just going to bleed 1 or 2 of his own Lancers. Right now again, though. There has been a prayer tent committed to by MarineLorD. Usually in these matchups, I see him do this a lot quicker than a lot of other players do. And it looks like VortiX hasn't committed at all. So similar in wood investments, right? 300 wood on one side, 200 on the other. One is for eco benefits, the other is for military benefits. Siege engineering hasn't actually been taken yet by MarineLorD, though, right? He hasn't even got the blacksmith down, I don't think. Okay, it's over here. Yeah, but still hasn't taken it. So a bit of a wonky situation here. It means he can't build up in the field despite the fact he has crossbows. By the way, this is another reason why he committed to the Siege Workshop. He didn't have any intent to transition. It's just Lancers. So he needed this to build the Mangonels. I still think he could have transitioned into crossbows himself, maybe with a few man-at-arms, just to build in the field. Because it means that you're getting a very slow slog out of Mangonels, and it means that it gives time for MarineLorD to count this out with Springolds of his own. And in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes in for Siege Engineering now. It's quite pricey, but most of it's on the stone side, so it is affordable. Problem he has is right now, he doesn't have enough Lancers to hold a front line. That's what he's scared of. Mangonel shot. Heavy damage on the crossbows. Crossbows going to engage. Gets one of the Lancers for free. Loses one in return, though. Oh, my. VortiX is in again. The Yan movement speed isn't there for him. He needs to be careful. His Mangonel is getting very far forward. However, uses the defense arrow. Back away just in time. MarineLorD will not take any damage here. More of these outposts being dropped, given that Yan movement speed, and also giving the Springald defenses to hold back these Lancers. And look at the damage that's being inflicted. So many heavily injured Lancers here for VortiX. But VortiX continue to do a good job, right? We saw him do this against Hera. He min-maxes the damage on his front line of Lancers, usually shifts the weak ones to the back. Right now, he's not doing that, but when we see him in the fights, be prepped to realize him doing that. Because so far, that's been the difference maker when we've been watching him. He understands how to actually get a lot more bang for buck. It's what's putting these two so close together, right? It's why this one hasn't been decided one way or the other. It's because these two players, compared to their previous matchups, are formidable when it comes to the way they micro and min-max the health of their units. I think an underrated idea in strategy games is using health and looking at health as a resource. A lot of people get wrapped up in it as your life force, right? You lose it, you die. But the way you have to think about it is it's a resource to invest in a battle. And if you find a way to still extend your usefulness in a battle at 10% of your health, that can be a huge difference maker against like an inferior player who isn't able to do the same. Screwing upgrades aren't going to be good enough. I mean, VortiX is peeling off. That's only because the Springald's showing up, though. One more hit and the Springald would have followed up. And this Springald's out of position, needs to back up. This is getting scary. Outpost down. Really good play from VortiX. Doubles up as well, so you can't just burn one down and get rid of his extension. Remember, this affects the Mangonels as well. Up at 1 tile speed, they move quick. Double Springald, though. Outpost being burned. MarineLorD! He's AFK! Village is moving away. He went for a second TC as well. This is very greedy, and VortiX just noticed. He's going to commit. He has to. He can't allow to get away with this. The Mangonels are slow to arrive, though, and he has to back up. One of them was almost dead because he ignored the outpost. That dive past almost cost him one. Gets the Mangonel out. But now he's on the clock. He needs to be fast. MarineLorD, this is an insanely greedy play, but he needed recovery. He went for a secondary TC, and VortiX has not done the same. VortiX does hold the center of the map. He's exploiting it with a step readout, but now he understands this front line can never fold. He can never back off. He has to ramp up the pressure, and he has to find a way into the eco lines of MarineLorD now. Meanwhile, MarineLorD was never able to get this one relic that tastes and looks of sadness. Frustrating as well. If you could have afforded this like 2 minutes ago, it would have already paid for itself, but unlikely he's ever getting it now. If I say that, he went somewhere else. Wallow. Yeah, right. MarineLorD, he's a believer. But I'd call that more delusional than believing. And look at this. MarineLorD, this is what he likes to do. Peel off 1 or 2 units. Exploit the fact they go unnoticed. Punish your opponent elsewhere. VortiX is even looking. Building in a marketplace. One's going to get sniped out. Second one's going to fall. He hasn't reacted yet. He'll finally actually pull them all in. That's 3 villages lost. No punishment either. He's going to go for more of them. VortiX. He hasn't drawn them all back. He's going to lose so many villages here, but he's doing the same. Look at this. MarineLorD quicker to react, though. Gets in position. Forces VortiX away. Has to use the maneuver arrow just to retreat. And these 2 Lancers, they've got their bang for buck. So many villages sniped out now. MarineLorD sitting at 66 eco. VortiX down at 62. On the other side, though, look at this. VortiX, 2-pronged attack, goes in on both sides, dives in, finds a few of MarineLorD's eco units. This is the awkward issue of being all Cav versus hybrid, right? At least from the perspective of the hybrid. MarineLorD's trying to do this dance, but he's always out of position, because if he's waiting for the crossbows, they're always going to arrive late, even with the Yam movement speed. Really smartly identified. VortiX is doing what a lot of players never would. A lot of players always just cluster together. They stick them all as one, and then they'll refuse to create this two-pronged attack, right? That gives them an option to breach somewhere. Meanwhile, VortiX understands that with the mobility on his Lancers, even with the Yam movement speed for MarineLorD, it takes him time to get in place. He can't be everywhere at once. Meanwhile, because VortiX dictates the flow around his opponent's base, he has the ability to do so. Now he has the ability to raid. However, he's doing it on one side again. This is what I mean. You do this, this doesn't work. MarineLorD's in position. He just postures, and you instantly have to back away. You need to split into 2 forces and do this. Problem is, he might struggle soon. Look what's happening over here. MarineLorD, he's almost picked through this wood line, at which stage he's likely to move these villages either further north where they won't be noticed, or he'll move them south to the primary wood line down here, and they'll be safe because then he can condense his military force straight in front of this TC and guard on all angles. VortiX moving in again. Oh, another Shaman. He finally decides it might be a good idea to pick up the easy relic. I love how kind of active and fit they look when they're yammed up. Look at him go. Nice little stroll, nice little jog. This guy lifts as well. You guys think you'd be able to lift that relic with one hand? It's kind of heavy. Swole boy, you know. Popeye. Old, but not out. What would we say of VortiX? He's in his 30s now, 31 I think it was. Playing like a youthful player though. Trades coming in. Springald's count still in favor of VortiX. MarineLorD does have that movement speed. Trade out's not working out for him though. And they should be. That's the problem, right? VortiX, he built more siege workshops. Now up to 3 of them. Sorry, no. Yeah, 3. He left 1 back at base. So he's able to match the pace. Remember we talked about that build rate. Although if you have enough resources, you can still outmass him. MarineLorD's issue is he doesn't have the resources. He's being forced off his gold line. He has to fight. And he's being sniped out as he builds them. Mangonel shots coming in. Not good enough just yet. And now the counter Mangonels. VortiX hits in the crossbows. Heavy damage done. MarineLorD in trouble. VortiX chasing in, looking to get on top of those crossbows. Wrap around on the back. MarineLorD looking to snipe out all the siege weapons though. And it's going to force a retreat. VortiX, he felt confident. He thought he had this, but MarineLorD will hold and push him back and away. And the count now in favor of MarineLorD, 26 milli to 21. Only 1 Spreel remaining. And remember, MarineLorD at this stage, he can build surplus quicker if they're on even footing, and they are. Gold is a limiting factor for one, wood the other. But you can see the trade coming out. Good old marketplace serving its purpose. Back on that gold line now. Does need to rebuild an outpost. Really needs that Yam in place. I don't like that he hasn't extended his influence again yet. But desperate for more gold first. Wants to be able to afford the initial Springolds. The person who can win this is the person with the extra anti-siege, right? By 1 or 2. because then you can go into Mangonels freely afterwards. So expect MarineLorD to go up to probably 5 Springles and then switch into like double Mangonel. You need to be careful not to overinvest in Mangonels. You are quite exposed to Lancers, but if you catch them in a cluster fight, they can pay for themselves quickly. It's just if you invest into 3 or 4, that's a heavy amount of your military potential going into siege weapons that can easily be flanked and chased down. Coming on the flank, here he is. MarineLorD still with the numbers, though. This is not good. VortiX is jumping the gun. I can feel the desperation setting in. He understands he's behind, right? It's the double TC effect. He needs to be the one setting the tempo, but so far unable to do so still. Hasn't pivoted to try and pick up the relics either with the temple. So Gold Trick will go in the way of his opponent. And a raid in from the Lancers. Finds 1 or 2, but not good enough. Still a 13 eco lead for MarineLorD. Back onto this wood line. Only needs a few people here. It's getting quite skinny up here. I just love it when they like skip animations, just floating for a moment there. Oh, look, nice, generous, easy to reach relic here. So MarineLorD now starting to bank more. Gold trickle's looking good. Income per minute is exceeding that of VortiX. VortiX, of course, has more access to gold veins. That's the risk MarineLorD has, and he's about to run into it in just 1,000 gold. He's going to need to extend somewhere. And you can see the control VortiX has over this nearby gold vein. He could go all the way north. That's going to leave you very vulnerable, and it's very out of position. So instead, MarineLorD needs a way to breach, and he needs it soon, which is why he needs to get the Mangonels ready. Meantime, Jonathan the Shaman is just vibing at the stage. He clearly couldn't find the way back to the temple, courtesy of the fact he is wearing a giant piece of cloth over his face. It's making it very hard to see, and it seems that he can't figure out where the hell he is. Oh, yep, he smells the prayer tent. He makes it back home. Meanwhile on the side, Lancers are going to be picked off, so VortiX no flanking attack coming out here. Both of them are going to fall. Good lord. Turning these horses into pin cushions. MarineLorD might think about sending 2 Lancers on the flank again. Same as before, basically. Just try and take out a few villages here or there. But it looks like he's wise to it. VortiX is not going to fall for it a second time. He already has people scouting that area. Siege Army now up to 5 Springalds, but MarineLorD been there for a while. Needs to find a way out soon, though. The Shamans are giving that gold trickle to survive longer, but here you go. Here it comes. Trip outpost prepping for the drop, the step readout here on the 8k gold vein to the north. And after that, a safer one behind it. Smaller, but much safer. In the meantime, VortiX in the center. He's almost done with this. About to go on a 2k on the central gold vein. Remember, these gold veins last a lot longer in terms of the bang for buck for the Mongols, though. We're going to pause that fort because there's a fight going on. Edge is from MarineLorD, though. Out micro on this. Look at the Springles being sniped. He's in trouble. Lancer lines are going to engage. Mangonel's moving in. Springles can actually focus fire onto the Mangonel now. Shot in. A few crossbowmen will die, but they don't care. They stand their ground. Rate fire coming out, and all of a sudden the Mongols have to ride forward onto the crossbow line. But there's not enough of them. MarineLorD in a bit of trouble. Loses his front line. Too many of them dying too fast. Mangonel shots coming out in close range. Springles still firing onto the Lance as they dive deeper, but the crossbows are holding. VortiX cannot gap close quick enough. The Gam movement speed about to run out. Needs to get the maximum value he can and burn as many siege weapons. But he's going to be stopped. And after that, VortiX definitely taking the bigger hit. More Lancers wrapping around on the side. He needs to get out. Decent amount of Lancers remaining. Heavy injuries on most of them, though. Springled edge, Mangonel edge is going to be maintained, and this can be repaired up. So MarineLorD will keep a Mangonel and a Springled alive, and another one being half-built currently. But right now, the economy is what matters. 70 to 100. That's what he's trying to dent. Right now, they're still drawing even, but you can see MarineLorD is starting to pull ahead. When we look at the income per minute, it's absurd. So much more food coming in. Double wood. Gold is good, but that's only because of the transition. He's not in position yet with the step readout. In fact, the step readout... Okay, I was confused. I was like, where is that? I see the symbol moving. It's very slow to get across here. 0.86. It's going to be quite a wait. Now Lancers moving in. So many villages that would have been exposed. 23 that want to get on top of that. He's going to shift attention to the north. This is dangerous. If crossbows is the backbone of your army, you can easily get caught out of position as a result. More outposts being dropped. Springled upgrades being put in place. Meanwhile, a shift. VortiX trying to match him. He's not looking to pierce in. He could raid the economy, yes, but what would be the damage, right? All the outposts here, the infrastructure, is too dangerous. Instead, he needs to starve off the economy to ensure that MarineLorD cannot use his superior eco count to field a bigger army. weaving in. Count really not that good right now. Too many Lancers. MarineLorD barely any. He's going to be forced to fight at this rate, though. Trying to regroup the forces. Outpost trying to be built up, but he's going to be sniped out before he can complete it. Springel's on the side, though, in the outpost to get upgraded. Step readout needs to be protected soon. He's baiting him in, though. MarineLorD wants him deeper. He wants the Yam to run out, and the Yam, it has run out. He's out of position now. Mangonel coming in. Rate of fire arrows. Mangonel on the back line for MarineLorD not being used just yet, though. He gets caught in an unusual moment, not microing, and as a result, the Springel's going to snipe it out. Crossbow's trying to hold, backing up here. Lancers are falling. There's so many outpost defenses here from MarineLorD, and it's making a difference. And I think VortiX is in trouble. He overcommits. Barely any Lancers left, only 6, and now the count is in favor of MarineLorD. And it will force VortiX to retreat away. Not able to stop the goal line at all, and instead puts a big dent in his own military force. And the ride out, straight on top of the Mangonels. Crossbow trying to get in range to deal with the Lancers, while the Lancers themselves try to deal with the siege weapons. Crossbow's now exposed. Mangonel will survive on 6 HP. But the Lancers can't really do much damage to the remaining crossbow. There's just too many of them. The Khan is going to be sniped out in the end, so VortiX now has that edge. But Arrow's still on cooldown for 45. Lancers in once more to finish off the Mangonel. And all of a sudden, you need to retreat away. VortiX can't handle this anymore. Needs to get back in range of his outpost and get that movement speed to get out. Crossbows, in the meantime, exploiting their movement speed to snipe out Springel's. Might be 2 more Springel's fallen. Crossbows switching over onto the Lancers now. Taking a lot of damage. MarineLorD with the greed. Has got more Lancers and crossbows of his own coming. The remaining Lancer in the end might be able to get the kill. Yep, another Springel falls. That's worth. And MarineLorD is gaining ground. Look at the rate at which he's replacing his army. MarineLorD currently up to 36 and VortiX down at 11. And he's caught in a transition. Look at this. He picked it dry. He needs a new gold line. And he might lose full control of the center now. They're flooding in. MarineLorD non-stop riding towards the fort base of VortiX. VortiX bringing Mangonels out into the death. Decent value found under the crossbows, but they're going to die. And the even up value means MarineLorD actually gets the better bang for buck, as these cost 600 resource each. These crossbowmen, around 100. 120 to be specific, and he only lost about, what, 5? Totally worth it. And he won't dive deep just yet. He's respecting VortiX. He doesn't know how weak VortiX is. We have God Vision, remember. MarineLorD, he doesn't know what's happening behind. He doesn't know the wood line was switching as well. If he knew wood was being switched alongside the gold drying up, he probably would have pounced on that forward base. But in the meantime, he actually backs up and instead builds into Trebs. And now his gold lines are safe, and this has me concerned. VortiX, although he's scaling up still, look at the difference, 78 to 121. He has to switch Uvu as well. He's shifting the step readout, so he's weak on the gold income right now. And you're no longer pressuring MarineLorD. So he gets to get all the greed he wants, right? He gets away with this eco, flooding across the map. He's taking the wood lines, he's taking the gold lines, he's extending his outpost control. He's getting control of almost half the map now. And although you picked some of the central points dry, the difference here is that MarineLorD also has that infinite trickle, right? He went to the prayer tent, something that when we look across in the base of VortiX, he never done. Now outpost being dropped by MarineLorD. Looking for that raiding opportunity when he has a group of Lancers together. That poor little Lancer is not going to last long, though. I don't think you're going to get that outpost down, son. Charge out. We'll get rid of the poor little Villy. But now we'll move in. Treb in place to get through the outposts. Need to be careful not to get in range of these outposts that have Springled upgrades. We'll burn down the siege workshops. That's 400 resource differential on each of these. Remember, they cost 300 wood for VortiX to build, and MarineLorD gets rewarded with 50 food and 50 gold for each one he burns down. Another cool thing about the Treb in this matchup, by the way, Trebs don't cost that much when you think about it. It's 400 wood, 150 gold, and you can use one of them to get rid of all these forward outposts. He's assuming VortiX has a lot more outposts built in the field than this. Luckily for VortiX, he doesn't. Otherwise, it would be a costly loss at 100 resources going to MarineLorD each time. Siege Workshop's going to pack up. Makes it easy to burn down. No resistance to anything anymore. Right in. Villages are exposed. Mangonel looking for the shot. Back up. Oh, it's not good. MarineLorD takes a heavy hit, but it's only one, and now the Sprills come in. They get rid of the Mangonel. So no follow-up there. MarineLorD now can hold his own. Lancers hold the front line long enough. Now the crossbowman can make the difference, and now the reinforcements have arrived. VortiX in trouble. MarineLorD holds the pass. Doesn't let him get into the crossbow line and forces the GG out. After all that effort, all that pressure, VortiX is unable to turn it around. A great comeback to hold in the beginning of the game, but MarineLorD will take map 1 in this grand final. It is time for game number 2. Okay, we can talk about all the wonderful things we want to see, but what we want to see right now is what is going to be happening here. MarineLorD is already 1 game up. He's 2 away from slam dunking this, but he's far away from that victory line when his opponent is VortiX. And VortiX is going to be feeling pretty cozy because this time around, it's a much harder map to pressure early on. We are heading over to Hill and Dale. Map choice of VortiX because he did lose the first round, and it is going to be HRE on HRE. MarineLorD will not be caught out on this one. HRE, this is probably the premium map. This is the best map to pick this Civ on. Multiple reasons. For a start, the choke points allow you to easily wall up and box yourself in if you're a little bit paranoid. The relic generation is usually pretty neutral and even, so you should get your hands on at least 2 relics. And then the third detail that I think is very critical, that a lot of people kind of sleep on, is look at the layout. Look at where everything has generated. Typically, 9 times out of 10, the generations for Hill and Dale are very compact. Because of the nature of like what's expected to be around you and the sizing of your hill, the game tends to compact a lot of these eco pieces closer together. And HRE is one of the best exploiters of that. Remember, HRE, your goal is to play a very tight, condensed economy until around Castle Age. And also, the double value you get from this condensed nature of like all the eco spawns is the Ark and Chapel, right? It's much easier to exploit that for maximum value. So in this situation, what you're looking for usually is wood and gold. Well, you've got that. You've got oodles of that. Millions upon millions of that. Like, look at the amount of wood here on both sides and the gold that you can actually crack with Ark and Chapel. On the other side, the big jackpot you're looking for is kind of this, if you can achieve it, where you can have an Ark and Chapel dropped here, buff your gold line, your food line, and your wood line. That is the golden triangle. Usually, you're happy as an HRE player if you can buff your gold and your wood. Reason being is you usually go into Pro Scouts, so you end up dropping carcasses next to your TC, and then you're able to get that buff anyway. But one thing I'm looking for, I've nerded out about before, I'm kind of a stickler for it, I think it's a very important detail, is optimizing your prelates' early walk routes. And that's the difference here. Look what VortiX does compared to MarineLorD. You see this small detail, guys? It seems so trivial, but it actually adds up a lot. So remember that your prelate is capable of buffing a maximum of 10 villages, and that's before equating time running between your eco lines. MarineLorD right here, what he's done is he hasn't minimized the distance. What he should have here is he should have moved his villagers with a sheep to the corner here to switch over onto. And then every time his prelate runs across, it's an extra 1 or 2 seconds in each cycle where he's not walking, he's just buffing. Meanwhile, when you look at what VortiX done, he instantly drags over to the left corner here so that he's stripping out 2-3 seconds, maybe even longer actually because he has to return as well, 4-5 seconds total of the prelate walking, right? Because he has to walk to this corner and then walk back to get to the gold line. Instead, he's able to buff 1 or 2 additional villages over what he'd normally be able to afford in this situation. Small detail adds up a lot. But right now, MarineLorD does beam to the punchline. It's already teching up. And MarineLorD does invest 4 people. Look at the difference, though. VortiX, this is done on purpose. Because he's not at the threshold, because he only has 10 villages, he's not investing more. There's no additional value out of the Ark and Chapel because you more or less buff all these villages. But as he gets 1 or 2 additional villas out, he should look to drop more into building up the Ark and Chapel. But he's done this wrong. He went for the wood line on the right side because it was closer. He could have easily, in this generation, with an HRE and HRE matchup, played the wood line to the south and it would have been buffed by the Ark and Chapel. So a little bit of a missed trick here. Does mean he's not getting as much optimization out of his economy early. Wood isn't the end of the world if you're slow to gather on it as the HRE. The main thing is the food and gold so you can crack a quicker castle age timing. Should we point out this generation was slightly better for the gold spawn point for MarineLorD, at least the initial one. This one is definitely closer compared to VortiX's. That run is a little bit longer. But VortiX has a natural flow point into the big gold vein, whereas MarineLorD is kind of juking and jiving over his base, left, right, and center. So I'd say both sides had their ups and downs. I think that VortiX is going to have huge value here, though. Any player that can do this with the opening Ark and Chapel is going to be miles ahead of you. And you can't do the same, right? Your deer spawn behind you because you've got the double wood line clustered together here with the gold. And you made this choice consciously because you want to have that wood long term. And it is a good choice to make. And look at this out of VortiX. Straight in with the scouts. MarineLorD, where are his? Oh my god, he only built 1 scout. You wouldn't expect this in HRE and HRE. VortiX is playing MarineLorD at his own game. He's forcing him off the gold. And there has been no military investment either. So now you can burn down this gold. The mining camp is going to be gone. He's going to have to fall back to a different gold vein. He needs to actually get units out to protect himself, so the stable is now going to be built. On the other side, the Ark and Chapel is still not complete, but VortiX will invest 10 people to catch up now. Meantime, mining camp. I think you might get the opportunity to set fire to this before the stable is up, but ultimately it's not going to work because remember, you're up against HRE, and they do have the emergency repairs, and it's just in range. I think MarineLorD done that intentionally just to be safe. Something to be mindful of. That's the reason why you don't necessarily see scout rushes often against HRE, because unless it's a water hybrid map, they're going to be in range for the emergency repairs. And it means they're going to just press one button, offset all this effort you put in with the scouts. Stable drop is going to be quicker for VortiX. Gets his down. Scouts already coming out on one side. Pro Scouts half researched here. Almost complete from MarineLorD, so he will have a slight edge here. But keep in mind that VortiX has very safe deer right here. He's going to have to wall this up, though, or MarineLorD could just come in and yoink this for free because it's out of range of the TC. The Scouts will be pushed away. Wasn't even able to set fire to it. Not that it would matter because he's not a Mongol player. This Arkan Chapel right now definitely boosting a lot of the economy. 9 to be specific. Actually, not 9. What I'm talking about. All of them, I believe. Yeah, every single one is in range because he's collecting underneath the TC. And he's going to return these deer close by to keep that the case. VortiX did have some flexibility to do something alternative if you want to, but you don't tend to do anything but a stable drop in an HRE matchup. It's usually about rushing to castle and getting your knights out immediately to secure the central relics. And you can see VortiX already trying to snatch away additional food, is moving across to MarineLorD's deer. MarineLorD himself is still busy collecting in the back of his base, so he isn't going to be prepared to do the same thing to VortiX, and VortiX at this rate will easily be able to snatch deer away and get his own back into base because they're very closely situated on the side here near the cliff. Yeah, he's gonna drag these under. I like what he's done as well. I think, is he dedicating one scout here? Yeah, you should definitely dedicate one scout to collecting these nearby ones because you know that MarineLorD's going to come for them, right? If you leave them exposed away from the TC, he will snatch them away. And it's cool as well, because the way he played this, right, he still gets value out of dropping this mill, even though he's now dragging the corpses back, because it allowed him to research the pro scouts. He's also going for survival techniques. We do not see this very frequently out of many players. Like, I feel like it's a handful of players. I think VortiX is one of maybe 3 players instantly come to mind. I think I've seen Lucifron occasionally do it, and maybe every once in a while I've seen, like, Hut possibly do it. But most players actually pass this up. Reason being is, like, it seems like a good idea when you consider what you're getting, but then you think about the cost associated. Like, look what it's done. It's only 50 wood and 100 gold, but it's put you behind. VortiX, he doesn't have enough food. He did have enough gold, but because he was gathering too much gold and because he then, you know, was behind in that regard with the way he scaled it, yes, he does get the increased gathering rates, but he's behind MarineLorD's build-up, and he's going to stay that way. VortiX only invests 8 people. The only way he's going to beat him to the punchline is if the prelates are in position. And the prelate already moving out towards the woodline, he needs to get it out in the field right now. MarineLorD, in the meantime, is moving into the base of VortiX to try and snatch away from him, but it's going to be too little and too late. And, well, relic locations do favor VortiX. VortiX should be able to get free, even if he's slightly behind on the tech up timing. The difference maker is this. Look what MarineLorD does. He drops a horseman straight away. Because otherwise you're waiting on the knights, right? Your tech up goes through, and then the knights take 35 seconds. That is a long wait, and he's not willing to wait at all. And MarineLorD straight in. On to the gold line that isn't protected, trying to do the animation cancelling, but now, even numbers coming out, actually, numbers in favor of VortiX by 1 as he brings an additional scout in. MarineLorD will have to retreat away. Prelate is now walking out, moving to the south as well. This is cool. He's taking the more risky one out of the equation first before his opponent possibly counters him. And VortiX, the time is going to be perfect on this. Look how close he is to the relic. Beats him to the punchline. MarineLorD can't get this. Scouts scare away the main battalion in the meantime. Horseman moving in, needs to be careful of that. He's going to need units out to protect this. He needs them right now. And he's building the knights. He waited around, remember. He didn't go for horsemen the same way that MarineLorD did. Scouts baiting him into the base. He's dangling his villager line on purpose here. He wants to draw attention here so he can sneak the prelates in. And the prelate can come around the back and make you uncomfortable with a wall attempt. In the meantime, has already got 2 of the relics returning. Didn't unbank the prelate to get the 3rd yet. He might do this when you get possibly just past where this relic is, because that optimizes the timing, so you won't be missing out on much value out of the Holy Inspiration. But now Knight coming out, and that should force MarineLorD away, and he sees the bad news. It's going to be very hard to get free relics. That's going to put you behind VortiX. A very critical detail in these HRE matchups. And it means that you're on the clock, right? Long term, if you don't find some pressure, you're going to be in trouble. And look what he does! He pins him! Wallalow's going to push him back. MarineLorD can't instantly turn and engage. The Knight is striking so hard into this line. Prelate standing still. VortiX might end up losing him, but that is drawing a lot of fire. He's tanking a lot of damage. He will die in the end. But now you've just got 2 stacked relics that you can't really do anything about. But the Knights do arrive. MarineLorD with 2 of them out. They're even up by the count by VortiX. And the damage done to the first Knight. He's almost dead already. It looks like he's going to lose his first. The Knights are really healthy for VortiX. So you really can't turn around on him anymore. In the meantime, Prelate is going to move out. The second one hasn't been unbanked. On the other side, more Knights are coming out. It's currently 2 stables about to be free. This is really cool. If you get enough relics banked in, which MarineLorD isn't doing right now, if you get at least 2 relics banked in, you can quickly afford to fund 4 stables with Knights coming out regularly. This Prelate, though. Oh, no. Oh, no, no, no. That's another Prelate dead. MarineLorD, he might not be getting the relics himself, but he is making VortiX grind and dance to them, and he's only getting paid in $5 bills right now. This is a problem. VortiX is kind of getting outdone. MarineLorD still outdoing himself further, though, by not banking the second relic, which would give him an eco lead, right? Because right now, they both only have 1 relic. It's almost like MarineLorD has given himself a friendly handicap, and he still hasn't banked it. He is going to snatch one of these away, so he will have the edge, and that's why he keeps the fight going. Knight count is in favor of VortiX, though. MarineLorD now has the Wololo. Will force his opponent away, but not able to turn and cycle in a charge, so a little bit misplayed. The best thing you can do is drag this away from VortiX's base. Oh, he's trying to switch relics. He's trying to switch relics. I don't think he's going to be quick enough, though. Prelate's going to pick it up. He's going to be sniped out. MarineLorD trying to move in. He's going to pick it up, and he's going to look for the Wololo. But it's still on cooldown. 13 seconds. MarineLorD with a big swollen brain. It's too big for his whole skull. It's going to start to crack, and it's going to cause some damage to himself. Oh, that is what we call outplaying yourself. Drops the relic, goes for the other one, and still they are sitting here being denied on both sides. And that brain is definitely too big, but MarineLorD is going to have to find another way to use it. It's pulsing. You can see the way that the skull is cracking. As I said, humans weren't made for brains that big. It's actually going to cause him a lot of pain, as right now he does hold the Knight count, but picking these relics up is another matter. And the snipings. Look what VortiX does! He's had enough of this crap. He sees that he has the relics near his base, right? So there's no likelihood that you're going to pull them away quickly with a Prelate. So instead, he exploits this to chase in onto your economy and stall things there so you can't keep outproducing him on the Knights. And in the meantime, VortiX now able to return for the relics. And MarineLorD, outnumbered here, hasn't been replenishing because he had to turn around and defend his base. He'll get rid of the Knights that have been being pesky in his economy lines. But VortiX now, still 2 eco behind his opponent, but about to be ahead on the economy if he gets both of these relics back. But once again, he gets denied. And this hurts, guys. Remember what's happening here. The eco difference isn't about sniping out villages. It's the fact that every time you try to pick these up again, you have to produce a Prelate. A Prelate that takes 20 seconds and not only costs you 100 gold, but it's taking time out of your villager production, right? You're missing a village of every additional Prelate you have to build. More Knights coming in. MarineLorD, I think he's finally going to have to go chill. I say that. 6, make that 7 Knights. He needs to get in here. 1 relic might be expected. You can't let him have the other one for free. However, the count is building. Now up to 8. Make that 9 Knights for VortiX on the defense. More coming in from MarineLorD, but they're too slow to arrive. Fight's going to go underway. And no edge either side. No tech ups coming out from a blacksmith. Instead, it's just going to be MarineLorD losing 1 of those Knights. And he's keeping the scouts in position as well. Really smart little play. Means he's going to have the early heads up. He'll be able to shift across in time with the Knights and match MarineLorD's moves. MarineLorD, on the other hand, is blind. Here we go. Scouts block the charge. Wololo comes out. MarineLorD will back out. However, the Knights have arrived, and he's outnumbered on this side as well. And the charge in. Most of it tanked by 1 Knight on VortiX's side. The damage spread more evenly for him, and it means MarineLorD in a lot of trouble. 5 to the 10. Tries to out-micro him, but has to back away. And the 3rd relic is going to get banked. And VortiX will now start to boom ahead. The eco numbers are looking juicy. You can see it. VortiX will be able to peel these people away from the gold line. Only keep half of them here. And switch the rest into farms and wood. This is frustrating. MarineLorD, look how many Knights he had ready to push across. Delayed, though. And now an even count. Look at the difference. Doubling up on the gold. There's no easy way for MarineLorD to match this. He needs a play, he needs it soon. If anything, he needs a transition. If both of you just keep pushing Knights, you're going to lose. And this is what he's trying to do. He has midfield advantage, so he tries to take the Sacred Sites, but VortiX is going to be forced out, and he will come out and force. The animation cancelling is very even between the two, and it means they're going to trade out evenly. And that is bad for MarineLorD, because like we said, VortiX now ahead on the economy is going to be the difference maker. The count. MarineLorD's behind. He's not getting rid of the heavily damaged Knights quick enough here, and it means VortiX has the edge. More Knights coming in. That's going to force MarineLorD away. MarineLorD slowly but surely being pushed back here. Never was able to complete the Sacred Site control. Meanwhile, in the north, VortiX is there, but MarineLorD will move out to snipe out that one prelate who's all alone. The chase continues. More ground being given, and you know MarineLorD is in a tight situation when he does this. Walls are now being dropped, folks. VortiX will do the same just to prevent any sneaking raids. But notice he doesn't do the same with center. He's confident here. He has control and he knows it. And MarineLorD, troublesome situation. No change. No ground gained. And your opponent now has 3 relics. You have a very finite amount of time to turn this. I'd say 8 or 9 minutes if I don't see an impressive play. This will just slowly cruise through to VortiX being in control of the game entirely. We see on the count, right? 8 to the 16. Some of them are scouts. 4 of them, I believe it is, still scouts for VortiX. Might be less, though, actually. No, I think it's maybe 1 scout and the rest Knights now. Good lord. And the upgrades coming out that he could afford because all that gold trickle. You can see both of them off the gold now. They're not trying to boost up. I say that. VortiX is shifting a few people in now, actually. Yeah, he's strip mining. Wow. But he's not strip mining in the center. He just wants to rush towards a tech up quicker, and he has surplus gold over MarineLorD. However, MarineLorD, look at the way he's hoarding food. He's slowed down the production. At this rate, he will crack Imperial ahead of VortiX. VortiX, who continues to push all of that food into the Knight spam. The problem with this is where do you find the value? And also, look what's happening around the back. MarineLorD rides in with just a few of these Knights onto the villager line and forces them off the food. And he's not going to be deterred. He's still outnumbers on the back foot here. And look at the bad news VortiX gets. The stone walls. And look at the other smart part of this. VortiX turns around. He doesn't check north or south. North or south where it's only palisades, which you could burn down. This is such a gamble, but such a big brain play by MarineLorD. He understands with them being so closely matched, even with the relic difference, VortiX is not going to want to waste time cycling south or north. He's going to assume the moment that he sees stone walls, that his opponent has slapped down stone walls on all fronts. But he hasn't. And it means that MarineLorD saves resources, saves time, and as a result, we'll be able to probably crack into Imperial a little bit quicker. He's already underway. And he is fast at it. And apologies for the name being Baguette. Why does my UI keep doing this? It is VortiX. I need to find out what's causing that with OBS. OBS has an issue with text being saved from previously. It is VortiX versus MarineLorD for anyone getting confused. There we go. Up in Imperial. And look at the numbers. VortiX is miles behind. Oi, oi, oi. Sorry, Baguette. I didn't mean to rub it in. He wishes he could be here. I don't think he'd want a rematch against MarineLorD. He would have eventually had to have had it. For those unaware who Baguette was, Baguette made a decent run through to the final series of the first day here in Winter Series 3, but was eliminated pretty brutally by MarineLorD in a 2-0 fashion. Check that video out on the YouTube side if you missed it. And look at it. VortiX actually checks in the south. The gamble by MarineLorD is going to actually be punished. And MarineLorD, there you go. Secondary palisades. Doesn't even bother the stone. This will buy him enough time to get the troops out. He needs time to just get the tech ups. Needs enough Knights to justify going to elite status, and then he will just run straight through VortiX's line. But VortiX now building the Palace of Swabia. In a more aggressive location where he can extend his eco lines into the center of the map. Nicely played by VortiX. Not as far as behind as you'd expect, but that's the HRE for you. Look away for a second, and all of a sudden, they are a Swiss bank. VortiX riding in with more Knights. The count right now. MarineLorD at 5. 29 for VortiX. MarineLorD. He needs a miracle at this stage. He's not going to catch up with just this many stables. He needs something else. Stone walls. This is too late. He should have done this sooner. However, with the villagers here, he can repair these. Remember, no ranged units means you cannot stop him from doing the repairs. However, there are so many Knights. I don't think this is quick enough. And the wall decision is going to be delayed. So delayed, but he may be able to do it. Quick wall right now. Gets it just in time. He'll lose the villagers, but he has blocked him out. He's prevented VortiX from accessing his base. Meanwhile, on the west side, he hasn't begun this yet. He needs to be quick across, and there it is. MarineLorD forfeits a part of his base, but is buying a lot of time here. He's going to need all the time he can get. VortiX hasn't captured the third sacred site. A missed opportunity. He's now sending the Priller up. He's going to force MarineLorD to come out and play. MarineLorD right now is not ready. 8 to 29. Even if you get the tech up advantage, you don't have the numbers to push it through. And the wall's going to be there. VortiX is getting frustrated quickly by this. Wishes he had a villager to cut through the trees, but doesn't matter. Right now, MarineLorD has a very finite amount of resources available to him. He's switching into the farms hardcore right now. Meanwhile, on the other side, potential weakness for VortiX. He's only half into farms as we speak. The Siege Workshop is being dropped. VortiX, not content to wait around. He's going to capture all the sacred sites. That will increase that gold trickle further. We can see the difference already in surplus, but when we look at the income, that's where it really shines through. Tripling him up on the gold front and evening up in other regards. The only one he's behind on is wood. Doesn't really need that much wood in his economy right now. It's MarineLorD who needs the additional for the amount of farms he's dropping at this point. VortiX, look how many knights he's got eliteed. On the other side, it's still just normie knights from MarineLorD. He hasn't got the amount of knights to make it worthwhile spending 1,000 resources to upgrade them yet. The problem he has is any moment where he feels like he has got enough knights, you're always going to have less than VortiX. You need something else at this rate. But first of all, he needs a decap. Being chased away on all fronts, though, unable to decap anywhere. You need to send them to all 3 sacred sites, split up VortiX, and then exploit that. That's the best way you can do it right now. We should probably clock that sacred site timer. I think that was about a, I want to say, 20-30 timer. So just let me add that in. Someone in the chat's going to, like, push the glasses up their nose and go, actually, the specific timing was... Well, that's what I'm going with. It's around 20-30. I think that's about accurate. Now the bombard's coming out. It might not even matter. MarineLorD, has he even got the Siege Workshop yet? Nope. That's a problem. And he's running out of space to build a big military district. So if you talk about the unit churn, not only is he going to run out of resources in his base at this rate, but he's not going to have the room to churn out the same amount of units as VortiX would, even if VortiX has to run it across the battlefield. Decap in the south. MarineLorD, well played. Splits it up, and VortiX is out of position. He wants to breach the base. He's got the bombard in position. Only one, though. These decaps. MarineLord's going to get both of them. So stripping away 200 gold from his opponent and getting rid of his win condition. Really important. And now the elite status comes in. He has enough knights to justify it. Decap is going to be successful, so bye-bye to the sacred site. Victory condition for now. This bombard. Look at the positioning on MarineLorD. This is intentional. He wants to stay around the back. He wants to have a forward line to hold inside his base, and then he wants to wrap around the back while VortiX is split up. VortiX has 2 different groups of knights, one of them rolling around the prow. If he runs into the fold here, he could get trapped and pinched on 2 sides. Here it comes. VortiX could layer it himself, though. Look at his positioning. He spots it. MarineLorD goes too early. He turns on him. And he has to back away. Numbers are too good, and MarineLorD out of position. But look what it does with the bombards. He rides out. And he's going to burn him down quick here. It's being punished. He's baiting him. Reinforcements wrapping around the back. VortiX trying to turn this sandwich into a double sandwich. More knights joining the fray from MarineLorD. Line's not holding. VortiX needs the reinforcements to come around the back now. South side is going the way of MarineLorD, but the north side is going to be cleaned up quickly, and the bombard's now starting to snipe out the knights. MarineLorD in trouble. VortiX able to push it forward, and he's lost the army. And with the walls already down, that's going to be enough. It's going to force the GG. Game 2 will go to VortiX. We sit at 1-1 apiece, and at least 2 more games ahead of us.